early stages of starting this coaching business, and we had this big plan. So his background is recruitment, and he'll tell you a bit more about that in a minute. His background is recruitment, and if you don't know recruitment, it's a really heavily sales-dominated industry, right? People in recruitment, they're natural, maybe not natural, but they're really good at selling. Like selling what they do, that's a day-to-day thing they sell. And me, because I've been studying marketing, the plan we had is that we'd work together, I'd bring in all the leads, and he'd make all the sales, and we'd build this big business in as quickly as possible. But, I mean, unfortunately, sort of left university, and we were working together, and it didn't quite happen like that. So, I mean, what was happening is, I mean, he'd obviously brought me in to generate leads. I was relying on him to get the sales, but neither of us were really delivering. I mean, I take responsibility, I wasn't getting the leads in. So we were spending all this money on marketing based on what I learned in university, and it wasn't working. It wasn't getting the results. And, I mean, I'm not sure, can I have a show of hands, anyone that's had the pleasure of working with a family member? Yeah. So,
it doesn't work.
When things are going good, I mean, it's really good, and you get on fine. When things are going badly, I mean, obviously there was a lot of stress on the business. There was a lot of stress financially as well. There was also a lot of stress on the relationship between me and my dad as well. Because, I mean, we'll go to work, he'd be on my back, hey, we're not getting these leads, I'll be like, you're not making the sales. We'd be sort of all this friction, we'd be arguing. And then we'd go home, I mean, I've never had a sort of a proper job. So the only way I can describe it is, imagine that you've had a job where you work with someone you really don't like, right? And they get emails all day, for whatever reason. But then at 5, you can go home and you forget about it. I was at university, so come 5 o'clock, he was giving me a lift home. And then we would be sitting at the dinner table, and my dad's been married, so my stepmom would be asking, oh, how was your day? And I'd be eating my dinner thinking, I work with a jerk. But obviously I couldn't say, because even though we were partners at work, like we were on the same level, at home he was still my dad, so I couldn't be rude and say, the person I work with is an idiot. So it sort of caused a lot of friction sort of in the relationship we had, which turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because it forced me to sort of take a step back and have a sort of a better look at what was going on. And why weren't we getting results? Why wasn't what I was doing getting the results that I wanted? Why was that happening? So I took a step back and I looked at the coaching industry as a whole. So I looked at some of the coaches that we've met in the local areas, some of the people that we've met at local networking events who were also in the same industry, and I started asking them, hey, how do you get clients? And I quickly found out that they didn't know either. So it was all these coaches that had the exact same problem. They were sort of out there, these are business coaches, they were out there teaching people how to run a successful business, but then sort of behind the surface, they were struggling as well. And I mean, it left me, I don't know about you, it left me feeling kind of like a fraud, right? When we were trying to sell people on, hey look, if you do this, you grow this big business, and then there was us behind the scenes, not getting the results that we promised to get other people. I mean, it felt like a fraud. I mean, I don't know, how do you feel about that thing?
Yeah, very much so. And we targeted, initially we targeted small businesses, and then we went to target recruiters. And yeah, we very much felt like a fraud. It was like, who are we to begin to give people guidance on how to get business when, quite frankly, we weren't doing it ourselves.
Yeah, and I think sort of when you feel like that, it affects your performance. So you have this, even though you try and put it at the front, your client, like, they maybe not know they can sense it, but they can pick it up. They can sense when you're not truly, you don't truly believe that you can deliver the results as well. So that meant that the sales were affected as well. So my dad, who had a background of working in recruitment, hitting big figures in terms of sales, suddenly it started to drop as well, because he wasn't, his beliefs and what he was trying to sell weren't in line, because we weren't doing ourselves. But I mean, what it made me do is take an even further step back, and what I found was, although there's a lot of coaches, trainers and consultants who weren't getting the results they wanted, they didn't have enough clients, weren't generating enough leads, weren't generating the money they wanted to earn, there was sort of an elite group. So the top 20% who were literally dominating the market. And these guys had, it's almost like clients were magnetically drawn towards them. So while we were out sort of chasing clients, I was doing cold call and picking up the phone, ringing all these businesses. They were almost, they had clients drawn towards them, and it seemed, from the outside looking in, effortlessly. It seemed like it all came easy to them. So what I then did is, I spent a greater focus of time looking at what they were doing, looking at what the top 20% of coaches, trainers and consultants are doing differently from everybody else. So why is it you can have sort of one, so us, who were out there desperately chasing clients, desperately chasing business and struggling financially, and at the same time, in the same market, selling what is pretty much the same service, you can get someone who deals a 6 or 7 figure business. So why is that? And that's the question that we asked, and it sort of led us on this journey to where we are now. So Terry, do you want to give a bit about your background?
Yeah, so